Today's topic, Jaren Jackson Jr. Let's go.
The 2018 NBA draft has just about everything you could want as far as big men are concerned. They have a lot of defensive-only big men, a lot of offensive-only big men, a lot of intriguing big men. Got length, size, quickness. It's got everything. So today's draft profile, we're talking about Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the premier big men in the 2018 NBA draft. Jaren Jackson Jr. is primarily a defensive big. He is a rim protector. He has a rudimentary offensive game. He is able to shoot three-pointers at a nice clip. He's basically been about a 40% three-point shooter throughout his career. He's only played one season at Michigan State, but his bread and butter in the NBA is going to be his defense. And what makes Jaren Jackson special is his feet and his wingspan. He is 6'10" with a 7'4" wingspan. He has about a 9'1" standing reach. He's not big. He's not very muscular built, and also he's not the greatest athlete. But what he does have is he has great footwork on defense that allows him to do a lot of things that help his team become a better defensive team. And one of those things is his ability to switch out on perimeter players in the pick and roll. He is able to switch and recover very nicely. He allows his the guy that's getting picked to switch because of his feet are, he's able to get out there on the defensive end and, keep the pressure on the ball handler until this man has time to recover defensively. So that's another thing. And also, when he is switched on to perimeter players that like to take him off the dribble, he has the ability with his quick and nimble feet to, be able to stay with the perimeter player. And with his wingspan, he is able to be a factor at the rim if they do get past him, because, that's one of the things that will happen to big men in the NBA, regardless of how good their feet are and how good an athlete they are. The little guys that are good with the ball will get past them, and it's your ability to challenge the shot at the end that makes the difference between a good defender and a guy that's just in the way defensively. So that is one of the very big strengths of Jaren Jackson Jr. And I would say that even though he's not the biggest, I think he's only about 230 pounds. He's not the biggest guy at 6'10", but he does have an ability to play very, very good post defense, especially on the college level. I don't know how that'll affect him against the bigger and stronger power forwards and centers in the NBA. And I do think that eventually his primary position in the NBA is going to be center. I think his primary position in college should have been center. And he's one of the players that I was really interested in this college season. He's a player that I really watched a lot of his games this college season. And he reminded me why I get so frustrated with college basketball. The college coaches, they're so comfortable that they're willing to hurt their team, it seems to me, as far as to keep upperclassmen and people who are going to stay happy. And it just seemed that Coach Izzo at Michigan State, he played Jaren Jackson out of position for basically no reason to say. I mean, Nick Ward is a good college player, very good college player. But I just had a feel. It just appeared to me that Michigan State team would have been a lot better with Jaren Jackson Jr. being able to play center and being the focal point of the defense in the middle, and having quicker perimeter guys on the outside like Miles Bridges at power forward, and that Michigan State would have been a lot quicker. That Michigan State team would have been a lot quicker defensively and a lot more versatile offensively as well. But, that's neither here or there. And I believe that's kind of the reason why they got put out of the playoffs, because of his put out of the NCAA tournament. I mean, too much NBA on the brain. It's because of Coach Izzo's refusal to play Jaren Jackson Jr. at center for long stretches where he was more effective. And I can tell you, like, one particular stretch, I think the last game Michigan State played Purdue in the Big Ten. I can't remember the guy, the center that got hurt for Purdue in the NCAA tournament. He was killing Nick Ward on the interior down the stretch. And Purdue was, getting ready to beat Michigan State. And then Coach Izzo, subs in Jaren Jackson Jr. to play him one-on-one in the post. And Jaren Jackson Jr. just ate that guy up for like 3 possessions in a row. And I mean, like, the 3 possessions prior to that, he was giving Nick Ward the business on the inside. So Jaren Jackson Jr. eats him up 3 times in a row. And for some unknown reason, Coach Izzo subs him out. And the guy proceeds to score on them again, like almost as soon as Jaren Jackson went to the bench. So that was something that really stuck out to me this season. That was an exchange that really stuck out to me this season. But I think one of the things that people really, really get excited about with Jaren Jackson Jr. is his ability to make 3-point shots from distance. Like I said earlier, he's basically been a 40% 3-point shooter throughout his career. And when I say throughout his career, I'm not saying his freshman season. I mean going back through his documented college season. He's been 40% from 3. And what's strange about it is because people see that shot and that clunky form that he has with his jumper. It's kind of slow. It's clunky. But he gets it up there and it goes in pretty much, especially when he's given any kind of space to shoot that shot. Now, the thing is, in the NBA, where the closeouts are usually faster and the closeouts are coming from longer players in the NBA, I think that 3-point shot is going to be more of a feature instead of a staple in his offensive game. I don't think he's going to be a big-time offensive player. I think he's going to be basically used the way a lot of rim protectors are used in the NBA in the pick and roll. Hopefully they can get his feet and his footwork down on offense and in the pick and roll where he can be a pretty good dive guy, even though he's not a supreme athlete, especially a run jump athlete. He can be able to be a good dive guy and a stretch guy that the center has to come out on a little bit further to open up the defensive lane as far as on offense. But as far as somebody who's going to be featured as far as taking a lot of 3-point attempts in the NBA, I just don't see that in his future. And his post game, he showed some flashes as a freshman, but it just seems that he doesn't have the knack for the offensive post game at this time. I mean, it's something he just doesn't. He lacks a touch with the ball around the rim and getting the ball to the rim. If you watched him versus in Syracuse, they had him in the high post a lot, and he was able to get a lot of open looks, just inside the free throw line. And he wasn't able to hit that jump shot or that set shot, whatever you want to call his shot, at all. It just didn't look good. He kind of just like threw it at the rim and softly and hoped that it went in, but it never did. So that's something that he's going to have to work on. And I think that one of the things that's going to make him a lot better player is I just didn't feel that he was in supreme condition as a basketball player. So his consistency kind of went hot and cold. It seemed like he just didn't have the conditioning to maintain his intensity, because when he comes in at the beginning of games or the beginning of a shift that he's on, he is real intense, and it kind of wanes a little bit as the shift goes on or as it gets time for him to get subbed out. So he was he didn't play very high minutes as far as a premier college player. I think he was a little over 20 minutes per game.
to be able to contest that shot, knocks it out of bounds.
And also, he did have a lot of problems with fouling, and I think that also has a lot to do with his conditioning because he has a real high IQ, but he does tend to reach in and, you know, a lot of stuff like that. So he has a lot to work on defensively. Right now, he probably has a draft range anywhere from 2. I've heard as high as 2. And he probably won't fall any lower than 6 or 7 in the NBA draft. Now, as far as fit on the Memphis Grizzlies, now this is a difficult one for me. Like, if you see the DeAndre Ayton video, you will see that how I said that he would fit pretty nicely with Marc Gasol. Now, the one thing about Jaren Jackson Jr., I don't think he's really a good fit for Memphis at this time. I mean, the drafting of Jaren Jackson Jr. Anywhere in the top 5 would signal a big, you know, and that's where Memphis is right now. We're going to get a top 5 pick. So the drafting of Jaren Jackson Jr. would signal probably a total rebuild immediately. It would likely mean that you would have to trade Marc Gasol sooner than later because Jaren Jackson Jr., like Marc Gasol, is not a strong rebounder. Even though he's a good defender, he's not a strong rebounder. And people, you know, everybody knows that no matter how good your defense is, if you have weak rebounding, it puts a lot more pressure on your defense. And we kind of saw that as Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph aged and their defensive rebounding kind of, you know, fell off a little bit. That even though Memphis was able to have good defensive possessions, they weren't able to finish those possessions out, especially against teams that were long and quick in the NBA. So that's something that he's going to have to work on, his defense, his rebounding, Jaren Jackson Jr.'s rebounding. If he wants to be a premier defensive player, he's going to need to be a double-digit rebounder or very close to it, or his rebounding, his defense is going to have to be lightning and elite, because that lack of rebounding and lack of ability to finish off defensive possessions is going to really put a lot of pressure on the defense. So I see him getting drafted probably around 4 or 5. You know, I don't think he's going to. I think in the end, it's going to be hard for teams to take him over somebody like Luka Doncic. It's going to be hard for teams to take him in the end over a Marvin Bagley, especially with this run Marvin Bagley's having in the NCAA tournament. And really defensively, I think it's going to be after workouts, it's going to be very, very difficult to take him over the more fluid and better rim protector, in my opinion, Mohamed Bamba. Because Bamba's going to look a lot better, I think, in workouts. So I see him going in the 4 to 5 range. It just depends. You know, you got a lot of other players like Michael Bridges, Trae Young. So you have players that have a chance to sneak up and surpass him. But, you know, when the NBA draft, you know, you have a lot of older GMs in the NBA, so size matters, and especially a guy who also has shown the ability to make 3-point shots. So that's how I feel. I don't think he's going to be a great fit for Memphis. So you can tell I'm not, as a prospect, I really do like him. If I had a clean slate, he would probably be a lot higher rated for me. As far as a guy, like if I had a team like Phoenix, I think he'd be a good fit in Phoenix with their guys who, even though they have a lot of forwards and bigs, I still think he'd be a good fit with Phoenix with Devin Booker, Josh Jackson, and who else do they have? They have somebody else. Warren, they have him. So I think he'd be a good fit with that team. But we'll see. I think a lot's gonna depend on workouts and him getting in shape, because he could look a lot better if he gets in very good condition during the off season. So we'll see how it looks. Like I said, this is Hustle Hoops. If you like this video, please subscribe to this channel. Like this video, share this video, and tomorrow I think we will be doing the ultra exciting Trae Young's draft profile for Hustle Hoops. Trae Young will be tomorrow, and so make sure you hit that bell for notifications so you will be aware. Or you can just follow us on Twitter at 901 Hustle. Follow us on Twitter at 901 Hustle. Thank you.